What is up, guys? Welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about Kano, the latest hero to LL from Flesh and Blood, and we're going to be talking with second place competitor at Calling Seattle, Zak Miller, who played the last rated game of Kano ever, which is pretty exciting to kind of think about and kind of be memorialized in that way.
Thanks for having me on, man. I know you're real busy prepping for calling Hong Kong this weekend, but thanks for squeezing in the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, I've got to say, it was a really exciting last weekend, obviously, for the team. I know most of us were kind of watching at home. I think all of us were kind of had the stream open regardless of what we were doing, which was pretty exciting to see you just kind of keep going all the way. Obviously, at Calling Seattle, we had a pretty huge turnout. We had, I think it was Josh, you, Jude Cornett, and was Nick there? I don't think Nick was there, but Jacob
It's
Allen
Jacob Allen. Jacob
was
Allen had a great run.
was
Great
also
run.
there. Yeah, yeah. We had Jacob made ninth place, just bubbling out of top eight. You obviously came second in Calling Seattle, which is just a massive achievement once again for you. And then we also had Jude to go 7-0 in the Sage Battle Hardened and make top eight, which was very, very exciting as well. So, massive weekend for the team, very exciting. So, that's definitely something that was really cool to watch and kind of seeing us put up results once again. One of the reasons we're making this video is because the last few weeks, Zach and Nicholas Mihalis, who you might also know from top hitting calling Memphis, along with Zach, and also just being a bit of a Kano wizard, have been working tirelessly on bringing you guys a Kano compendium. This is basically a guide on Kano in every format, essentially: Sage, LL, and CC. Obviously, CC a little less relevant now, but if Kano returns in the future, I'm sure it will become very, very relevant. Zach, do you want to kind of intro the compendium and talk it through what you've been working on, what you've been writing on?
So I started to dig into this compendium of Kano post the Philadelphia Calling, and kind of thinking I had a little bit more time to dig into it and really get into the details. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, Kano is now LL out of CC. But I put in, all of my energy and thoughts as tribute for this incredible hero, and I want to, no matter what, whether he's LL or not, I wanted to get this information and um, compendium out there for everyone. So that will be coming out soon. Very excited.
Yeah, it's definitely really exciting. It's been really nice seeing you and Nick kind of chatting about the guide and getting it written up. It's been exciting to see kind of the ideas that you guys have been throwing around. I got a quick look at the guide the other day when you sent it to me for editing. I think it's really good content. It's really exactly what you want if you kind of want to delve into the wizard class and also just kind of Fab's deeper rule set in general when it comes to stacks and interactions and amp and all those funny things. So yeah, that's definitely a really exciting thing. That should be available now on our Metafy. I think this video should be going up Sunday night. So that will be available for you guys to pick up on the Metafy, which will be linked below. First of all, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. Kano has LL'd. The last hero from Arcane Rising. It's a very exciting kind of time in the world. You know, everyone's rejoicing about their extra sideboard slots. Zach, what do you kind of think about Kano LLing? This is kind of the end of the tenure for the first Wizard of Fab.
Oh man, I mean, Kano is. Kano is the pride and joy. I would say my magnum opus. I've traveled the world uh, with and because of Kano, so I have a lot of emotion behind this hero leaving. But that's the beauty of the game of Flesh and Blood, where you know heroes staying and leaving. It's significant because of the time that you have with them. It's just part of the process. and it's what we signed up for. So it's the reality. It's here. Kano is gone. I will be doing my best to move on without him in this game. Um, but it is certainly a tough pill to swallow. And I was very, very happy that when I competed in the LL tournament, that I was having a great time. Like, yes, I was winning games, but I was able to compete. I was able to play with the strongest heroes in the game. And when LL becomes a competitive format again in the future, Kano will be there. So
Yeah.
I have that hope to ride on.
Yeah, it's definitely really exciting, and it's kind of a bit of the beauty of Flesh and Blood is like not only do we kind of like change heroes over time just because of the LL system, but we also change who we are as players and kind of how that fits our play patterns and everything. And it's like now you kind of get to close the chapter on this section of Fab and kind of get to now move on to something else, which is really exciting. So Kano obviously joined us in 2020 or 2019, I forget exactly, with the release of Arcane Rising. Kano on like release before Everfest was like a really interesting deck that employed things like Ether Flare and the before patch notes version of Sturdy Ether Winds and Forked Lightning, which for those who don't know, basically if you pumped the Forked Lightning, the super from Arcane Rising, if you pumped it with Stir the Ether Winds or like Crucible or something, it like doubled both of the damage sets that card did. So there was a bunch of like small combos with that, and then setting up big things like Ether Flares plus Blazing Ethers, using Spindles to stack your deck. But Kano was not the strongest deck in the world upon release. That all changed with the release of Everfest and the release of Ether Wildfire specifically. I think this was maybe the most revolutionary thing that came out for the deck and very much changed how the deck was played. We also got the potions in that set. We got a Clarity Potion and a few other like tech cards. Energy Potion obviously has been in the deck since it came out, just a great way to save resources for the combo turn. Zach, when would you say kind of the next big evolution of the deck was after Everfest? When do you think things started changing in the deck?
Was 100% the addition of Kindle with Mistveil dropping was the next major arc of Kano and his deck building. Kindle shapes a lot of what the style and strategy of the deck has become today, where you're very combo oriented. You're really looking to maximize your combo, and you kind of veer away from that more mid-rangey style of the older formats and lists.
Yeah. So I think also just we skipped over it, but we have to talk about it. Kano was one of the first heroes to LL and Blitz as well, which was very exciting to see. Obviously, in a 20 life format, was the power of Storm Striders is kind of accentuated. So then we had Mistveil and we had Kindle getting printed, and then just like 2 months later after Mistveil, 3 months, we had the book banning, which obviously hit Kano probably the hardest out of any deck in the game, I think. Tomb of Etherwind getting hit, Tomb of Fiendel getting hit. How did you kind of feel as a Kano player, like responding to that BNR?
Oh man, I gotta say that was like that was a really dark period for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because all my heuristic stacking with tomes, it was now erased. All that effort and time and energy that I'd put in practicing with tome stacking was erased.
Yeah.
And I wasn't quite sure how the deck was going to look post book burnings and how I would be able to, utilize the list in whatever form it would be. I do have to give out a shout out to the Purple Discord and Blazing for Lethal. He really actually brought me back into Kano and renewed my faith with his old open the floodgates, like just bomb them style gameplay. I was not able to come up with a list myself. I have to say that he really did reinvent Kano in the post book burnings, and it was a very inspirational piece.
Yeah, we had because that like 4 or 5 month period between Mistveil and Rosetta is such a crazy period now that I think about it for Kano, because it's like Miss Vale comes out, you get Kindle. It's like awesome. Like I saw people at Amsterdam rocking like Kano. People were like definitely still on the deck. People were excited about it. And then we had like the book burnings, which was just like the worst day ever. And then like less than a month later, after the book burnings, we had Rosetta come out, which had Overflow, Open the Floodgates, Will of Arcana. Like we had all these super powerful tools come out, which was absolutely crazy. And then we saw at Osaka Worlds that year. We saw Peter Budensek win the Battle Hunt for LL with like 9 Open the Floodgates, leading to that card getting restricted. And I'm just thinking like that last like 4 or 5 month period between Miss Vale and Rosetta was such a crazy period for Kano during the game, and it was actually interesting. I don't think we saw a level of like reinvention for the deck as we did since Everfest came out. So I think that's kind of the beauty of like Kano sticking around so long is like we really got to see different variants and forms of the deck coming out. Like I remember in Heavy Hitters when people were playing the stack version of Kano because it was so good into the Warriors and so good into the Guardians where you would just play D-React and then just be like, yeah, just
yes.
That was such like a crazy time in the game. But yeah, it's been so interesting seeing Kano adapt over time. And then obviously this year we've had what do you think the notable? Have we had notable printings for Kano this year? Is there anything that you think was like super notable?
I would like to say Burn Bear, but no, not quite what I'm looking for. Having a card that cannot pitch is just not exactly what you want with Kano.
Call for backup, perhaps? Maybe the most important.
Oh, okay, yeah, now, yeah, we can go there. Yes, that is a, a fantastic conclusion. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely like, yeah, it's been a bit of a quiet year for the Wizard since Rosetta at the end of last year, but yeah, we got
What I gotta say, oh man, the amulet. Oh my goodness, High Seas giving Kano a fourth energy potion was
yeah,
insane, insane.
yeah,
So yeah, that actually might have got slept on a bit. The power that he gets from some of these amulets were ridiculous. Actually, I
yeah.
gotta say that.
It's definitely like it's the classic thing of like you play against your Kano opponent and then they just like it's always like the meme of like, oh, my opponent opened 2 potions, the game was over. It's like it just became so much more common with like one more copy of Ruby Amulet in the deck. It was just like, oh, what are we doing? You know?
Oh man, yeah, it's a very. I don't think it's talked about how much of a buff that actually was. Holy smokes, it was a shock when I saw it spoiled. Actually.
Speaking of buffs, we really gotta talk about 2025 as kind of your year of Kano. We were chatting about this before we started the interview, but I've got to say I don't think anyone else has like quite the list of achievements you do with the deck. Um, we start off with it's end of January, start of February. Hunted has just released. This was the Calling Memphis. This was a double calling that had a limited calling as the second calling, I believe. Obviously,
Yes.
huge because
Yep.
this was the breakout weekend for Syndra. But notably, there was a certain wizard who had 2 copies in the top 8, I'm pretty sure. We had you,
Mhm.
of course, and then we had Nick, who's also
Mhm.
on Snapdragons and helped write the compendium. Walk
Yeah.
me through what that kind of like the start of the year, just like already starting out so great, kind of was for you.
Oh man, that meta. I mean, everyone just seemed to kind of just forget about Kano. I gotta say, a lot of the early rounds, it was just a bunch of AB1 kind of
Yeah.
shoddy gameplay styles into Kano. It just it seems like people had just forgotten about Kano in the era that Viserai, I suppose, was really dominating. And with the new set coming out right at Memphis, everyone's kind of scrambling to get their sideboards together. It was just a difficult time to really give Kano any respect. And me and Nick kind of came in there and just cleaned up a little bit. Made sure everyone gets their arcane back for the next tournament.
Yeah, then shortly after Memphis, we had what do you call it? We had Armory Deck Aurora come out, which was obviously like another big shift in the game and kind of everything shifted from being very like Enigma Viserai focused to being a bit more Enigma Aurora focused. Obviously, a bit of a shake-up to the meta, and everything started becoming very, very tight. We got to Pro Tour London. We were both at this event, I think. I think we might have seen each other briefly at the end of the weekend. But I'm looking at this meta, and it's Aurora, which has access to the easiest spell void in the game. Enigma, which is like a pretty rough matchup. And Prism, who is like the third deck of that weekend. And you made top 32 of that Pro Tour in like maybe like the most hostile metagame I think I've seen at a Pro Tour for a deck. Walk me through that. Like, that's crazy.
That was a little bit of a culmination of luck, I'll admit. So Enigma was actually a really, really good matchup. I'm pretty sure it was 3 to 4 Enigmas that I faced, and I did not drop a single match. I loved the Enigma matchup. So much fun. You had to, balance your waning moon against their ward while you're pitch stacking. It's just everything that I look for in a matchup. It's so much fun. It's like you are the offensive wizard and they are the defensive wizard, was kind of how I viewed it. And it was just such a fun interactive match. So yeah, I got the matchup that I wanted to see, which was Enigma, and I simply dodged the Aurora. I only played one, who was actually top 8 Paul Van Giesel, and we had a great match. It was very close. He got me. That was expected. I had to dodge the Aurora, and I pretty much did. I only saw one. So it was a bold tournament strategy to go in there with Kano. I was also able to go 5-1 in draft, which is really what carried me through. My idea for draft was just force Spider-Man. I had a blast just forcing Arachne. What a great hero in that format. So I just forced him every round and had a blast. So a little bit of luck there. I won't lie to you.
So I think this is the point where Snapdragons really came together. It was the Sunday night of that event where I think Matt W went around and recruited like half the team that weekend, I think, including myself. I'm trying to think. Were you brought on after Memphis or after London? Which one were you?
It was after London. Nick kind of got me in there. Pre-Singapore was really when I started to get involved on the team.
Yeah. And obviously we had the road to Singapore, which was obviously like, I think that's when the team started like kind of gelling together and working on a few things. I'm trying to think. Was Portland before? It was the calling in Portland, right? That you top 8'd the Battle Hunt of on Arachne Marionette.
No, that was Kansas City. That was my character building weekend where I decided to not play Kano. Now I'm like, oh, that might have been another PTI I could have got if I played Kano. But anyways, yeah, that was calling and Battle Hard Kansas City.
Yeah, so another big weekend for you. You picked up Mario. You've kind of become the default testing partner for Mario in the team, which is funny to see, but you're kind of going to have to step into now, I guess, with this fresh new meta. So that brings us to Singapore, which is obviously like another big weekend. How did Singapore go for you? How were you feeling about the meta in that event? Obviously we had the Gravy Slippy meta. How are you feeling?
That meta, I mean, I felt like I was like 40-45% into all the top decks. I mean, it was a difficult one to justify playing Kano again, but that was this is my bread and butter. This is what I love to do. I'm gonna travel the world and I'm gonna play Kano. That went okay. I believe I lost to 1 Gravy and 1 Slippy in Swiss, which is about correct. That was about what I was looking to do. And then I did make day 2, but I bombed draft with Puffin. For the second time, I bombed draft at US Nats with Puffin, so we'll never touch Puffin in High Seas Limited again. But great format. I loved High Seas Limited. What a fun format. So yeah, it wasn't really Kano's fault. He was doing okay. But yeah, tough run in Singapore.
Yeah, name a better combo than Team Snapdragons and bombing the national draft with Puffin. Like, we were all so high on it for some reason. I don't know what we were thinking. We were all just like, yeah, we'll just force Puffin, and then it like never worked out for any of us.
Nope, nope. Like the deck would look great. I feel like I would like draft these killer puffin decks, and then they
Yeah.
just would not function. I'm like, oh well,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
I think like yeah, it seemed like we kept having the decks come together and then they just like wouldn't function for some reason the way that we wanted them to. It was a bit of an
Yeah.
interesting like formative period for the team where we were all like convinced that this was the best strategy, but we didn't actually like work out a
Hmm.
reason why it worked.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
then we kind of had I'm trying to think. So you come back from Singapore. We have a bit of a fair break, right? We do a bit more work on LL really for the next few months, and we kind of have the wind up to Philadelphia. Obviously, so split format, CC and LL. What did you play for actual Worlds, and then what did you end up playing for the rest of the weekend? How did that weekend go, really?
So Worlds Philadelphia was um man, I was on top of the world. I was 4-0. Worlds Philadelphia, my hometown. Worlds
Mm.
Philadelphia, 4-0. I could see the dream. And then round five, I pair into Connor Bryant on Dio. He's a fantastic pilot. In fact, he went 9-0 on the weekend with Dio in CC.
Mm.
And we're playing the match on an off-screen table. And at the end of the game, I take a safe decision line, which ultimately cost me the match and just had me, kicking myself over and over. Why would I take that line? Why would I take
Mm.
that line? And I kind of formed this very aggressive mentality for the rest of the weekend and even to this tournament, most recent in Seattle, where I was going to rip it if I saw it. Anyways, so 4-1 in CC. That's fine. We'll bounce back in LL, right?
Mm.
I decided to take Dio in LL,
Yeah.
who is also a intricate combo deck, and definitely checked a lot of boxes for me.
Mm.
Very powerful. But unfortunately, I did not realize how prevalent of hatred was for Dio. I think everyone had clearly established it was the strongest deck. It did end up winning Worlds. But everyone had like 3 copies of Amulet Echoes minimum against me. Everyone had, an exorbitant amount of hatred, and I did not handle it too well. I went 0-3 in the LL. I'm like, oh, so 4-0 to 4-4 was Worlds,
Yeah.
but I did play a Kano in that last game of LL,
Mm.
and I was pretty bitter at this point, but the game itself was actually really interesting,
Mm.
and the Kano got me, and I learned a lot of things from that game.
Mm.
And after that game, I'm like, no, I'm not doing Dio again. I'm not doing that to myself. Tomorrow, we play Kano
Yeah.
in LL. We're gonna see what happens.
Mm.
So the calling was quite the roller coaster. I pretty much rage queued Kano after the whole Dio performance.
Mm.
And round one, I go against the Viserai, which is, as Kano, actually one of the matchups you're looking for.
Mm.
And things didn't quite line up. And I ended up dying to AB1 Scalata Viserai. I'm
Mm.
just, sitting there like, okay, why did I do this? It's LL. Kano can't work, right? This is ALL. It's too tough.
Mm.
But then, I go against the Starvo, I go against a Chain, I go against Goliath actually, and I just keep starting to accumulate wins, more wins, more
Mm.
wins. And at the end of the day, I'm 6-2. I'm day two of the LL calling the largest LL event ever
Mm.
on Kano. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's just keep this rolling. Let's have some fun and see what we can do here. And I was really surprised going into that day two. I played all of the meta relevant matchups. I played Chains, I played Starvos,
Mm.
Viserai, etc. I could not lose.
Mm.
I was just winning everything. Kano was performing at a very high level, and he was showing that he was able to compete with these top decks
Mm.
round after round. And in the last round, actually, to win it in, I suppose, at X and 2, I'm not going to lie, I kind of punted pretty badly against Chain. And we go to flip for the final turn on presenting lethal, and Kano simply would just not let me loose. I just blind flipped Wildfire, Spindle, Kindle, Tome, and just absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah.
It was pure high roll luck, but fortunately, my opponent Andrew was able to make it in the top 8 as well, so that was good.
Yeah. That was definitely like
Yeah.
it was definitely a cool moment for the team as
So
well. It's like for the I think most of the team was there, and I was like, we got to the end of day one, and there was a bit of a low point because Thomas obviously didn't make make day 3 of Worlds, although he was so close at like 11th place. And then we're just like, oh yeah, Zak's in top 8 at the calling, and I'm like, what? Where did that come from?
yeah, I didn't expect it either. I did not expect it either. But yeah, so then I go into the quarterfinals, and it is against Chris Ayali, who is playing Dromai. And this is a matchup that can go either way. But Chris Ayali has the seed on me and drops turn 0 Thamai, and this is a absolute silver bullet that I was able to deal with comfortably. And then the second Thamai came out on turn 3, and I had to combo and kind of went to dust from there.
Yeah.
Devoured by dragons.
Yeah.
But it was a great run. I was so happy to be able to hang in there in the LL format with Kano. It was so much fun.
No, that's definitely it's definitely a bit of a rough top 8 game. Definitely one of the worst ones worst kind of ways that can end up going. Obviously, Thamai is like such a silver bullet. Like I remember back in CC when people would play it against Icelander, and it was just such like a high priority kill target, and people playing Scar for a Scar just to deal with it. And then you like you switch over to Kano, and it's like even more impactful because you just can't clear it most of the time. Yeah, no, that's definitely a rough way for the top 8 that I want to go. We then go into we all kind of took a couple of weeks a bit softer after Philadelphia, which brings us to calling Seattle last weekend, and obviously this is a pretty exciting weekend. So we got the news like Saturday night that Kano was LLing because of Battle Hun Vienna, I believe it was, being won by Kano there for the last 2 points. How did your calling go?
Man. First of all, shout out to Matt, Josh, Jude, Jacob. I mean, it was so much fun playing with you guys, going out there and having the love and support during that run. It was such a special weekend. I had Gravy in my bag. I played Gravy all Friday, 6 and 2 in side events, just to hide the fact that I knew I was going to play Kano this weekend. I had a feeling that this might be the last opportunity I would ever be able to play Kano. I could just feel it, and that came into fruition like round 3 or 4 when the news broke that Kano had LL. And I'm like, wow, like I need to make sure that I do not take a single round for granted. This is the last chance that I will get to play with my favorite hero, my favorite deck in any card game, really, Kano. And oh man, I'm glad that I was able to respond to that and just go on an absolute tear, the strongest tear I've ever been on, and it was so much fun to be able to do that. It was such a wonderful tournament.
This was also so funny from my perspective because I was asking Zach for Mario reps the week of, and I assumed he was gonna play Mario, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm playing Gravy on the Friday events," and then he's like, "Oh, I'm playing Kano," and I'm just like, "Dude, can you chill out? You've got a calling to win. What the hell? This is crazy." You were just switching decks so much. I was like, "Oh my god, really?" Like, but it's really nice to hear that you kind of pivoted mentally and kind of like took that as motivation rather than something to feel sad about going into the tournament. So you finished day one X1, right?
Yep, that's correct. I lost to Matthew Vore on AB1 Kasai. It was my only loss. Day one.
I'm not gonna lie, the Kano win
He
rate
got
on
me pretty
Kasai this
good.
weekend was not good. Like, we'd already talked about it, I think before the weekend started. I was like, yeah, honestly, into Kasai, there is zero chance of them winning. Don't worry about it. Just take your time and do the thing. And then, like, I think, because
Hmm.
Nick also, not Nick Mihalis, Nick Tran was the other person on Kano who was also kind of tearing it up.
Yeah.
He also ran
Yes.
afoul of a Kasai during the tournament. Like,
Yep. 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 If I'm sure the stats is going to be absolutely devastating for Kano this tournament. It might be a 0%er actually.
yeah,
It's
Fab
certainly
Blazing really
possible.
like coming up with some hot data on that one. That's definitely exciting to see. Um, so
Mm.
we end day one and like you're X1. Jacob is X2, I believe. And we're kind of like, yeah,
Yes.
this is hyped up. This like might actually just keep going the way that we want it to. How did day two go?
Day two. Woof. I came out hot. I was like, hey, I'd never ever so every calling that I've top eighted, I was always X2 and I always had to win out the
Mm,
following day. This was a new experience for me being X and one, kind of having a little bit of cushion and leeway to play with. I'm glad I did not take that for granted either because I started out 3-0 with some very difficult opponents there. We had a gravy, we had two gravies, and let's see here. What was the other? Was it a Mario?
mm,
Mario. Uh, oh no, it was Dio and two gravies for a
yeah.
3-0 at the beginning of day two.
Mm,
And at this point, I'm like, oh, am I locked? I don't know, but I need to play like I need the seed.
yeah.
Which didn't matter. I ended up losing the next two to Acilio,
Mm,
who had he played it very well, but he had back-to-back rewinds for my back-to-back wildfires, and I got smoked.
yeah.
And then I had to go against Prism in the last final round for the possible win in it. Um,
Mm,
and yeah, it was close. It was a close game against Prism, but we did not get there. So I ended the calling at 9-3, making the eighth seed to get in there.
mm,
Holy smokes, that was that was a
yeah.
close one.
It was definitely a bit of a brutal cut. I was like, oh, we got Zach at eighth, and then we got Jacob at ninth. That's such like, oh man, that's like it's great results, but man, that's a rough cut. I was like, oh my god. But obviously, yeah,
Hmm.
I think we worked out after while you were in game for the second last round that you were locked regardless because Sydney was like very much the same. I think it was the same amount of players
Mm.
and then also the same amount of rounds. So we were like, oh, okay, cool. He's definitely good. So you get into top eight. You look at the bracket. How are you feeling about the actual bracket? Because you've got Acilio first in the quarterfinals, right? But then you've also
Yes,
got the
correct.
Prism sitting next to you. Whereas like the free matchups and the good ones, like the Chris Ayala and Kasai, are on the other side of the bracket. So how are you feeling about the
Hmm.
bracket?
Well, at this point, I'm just grateful to be in the top cut. At this point, I'm just
Mm,
like, hey, this is it. I've been given a second or third chance at this point, and I need to, I need to convert. I need to do what I can. I've also, whenever I made top eight before, I would get bounced in quarters immediately. I've never made it past the quarters in any of the
mm,
three previous columns that I top eighted.
mm.
So I'm like, okay, we gotta lock in here. We gotta figure it out against the same Acilio who double rewinded to me. We gotta get this thing together and go in there. And fortunately, he did not have the rewind. Unfortunately for him, and great run
Mm,
from Andrew Lorenz. Holy smokes, he was the first seed, I believe. Yeah, he must have been the first seed. And
mm,
yeah, sorry to high roll you like that, but yeah, we got the Acilio win,
yeah.
which then led me to an hour plus wait time, waiting on the stream match between Simon Nielsen and his gravy opponent.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh boy, I got a gravy or I got a prism. Either way, it's gonna
Yeah.
be a rocky show here.
Mm. I remember sitting there and I was like, damn, is he still in top 8? Like, are they gonna like start playing at some point? Like, his stream's delayed as well, so it looked even further back, and I was like, damn, they're really still going. This is kind of crazy. And then we get the news, obviously, that you're playing against Prism in the semifinals. And there's like two parts of me. One of them's like, oh, man, that's rough. The other part of me is like, oh, the storyline if he wins, though. The storyline if he wins. Because we look at the other side of the bracket, and it's a Gravy and Chris on Kasai. And like, having played a lot of that matchup, it's very, very Kasai favored. So I'm like, alright, so if he wins this, he goes against Kasai in the finals, and that's like such a good matchup. But I also knew that you had been working on the Prism plan in the Discord with Nick for like ages at this point. And do you want to talk more about your plan into Prism? Because I think we sort of executed in the game like perfectly, but it was genuinely just like such a shocker for people to see and like to watch. Walk us through. How did this plan for Prism come about? How did executing it go? Like, walk us through this game.
So, Prism. Wow. This matchup, for anyone who's played Kano, I'm sure they can empathize with the pain of having to ever see a Prism across from you. And in the preparation for Singapore, I kind of established that I felt pretty reasonable into pretty much every deck in the format, except for obviously Prism. I felt like I had a deck list where I could play 60 cards, play my deck list, and I'd be good to go. But what am I doing with the rest of the 12 cards in my sideboard? I can't bring in D-reacts in this meta. It's not really feasible.
Yeah.
What am I doing with it? I'm like, well, you know what? Let's cook up a Prism plan. I hate losing to Prism. I want to make them suffer a little bit. So we go ahead and put in as many poppers as possible into the sideboard to see how it goes. And testing it, I wasn't exactly like winning all the time, but I was having a blast playing the games. Like, these games started to become really interesting, and there's a lot of nuance to them. And whether or not I was losing or winning, I was having a good time, and I could not say that before putting these poppers into the sideboard. And that kind of is important to me because if you ever beaten me before in a raid event, you might have noticed I get kind of tilted. It happens. So I need to keep my mentality up. I want to make sure that I'm having a good time. So I need to feel like I have an opportunity to win. I do not want to ever sit down and be like, hey, I can't win. I just can't do it. Yeah. So I wanted to take and address the one matchup that was the biggest problem. And I wanted to do something about it.
Yeah. And we saw several unique card choices, I would say. Obviously, we had the call for backups, which we've already kind of alluded to. New card coming in Guardian Mastery pack, which you definitely wouldn't initially think about playing in Kano, but obviously definitely panned out. How did your actual game with Simon go? Because how was it from your perspective? Because like, speaking as someone who was watching live from home, it was just one of the most engaging games I think I've seen on stream, like, ever.
This might go down as my pinnacle, my peak as a card game player. Being able to sit down across from an absolute legend, Simon Nielsen, who was a total stud. What a great sportsman. He was having a ball playing with me. And we had played in the previous round 12 as well. I was a little worried that he would be prepared for my tech at this point, as he's already seen it. But I'd say that maybe I got a little lucky in that he had quite the slog of a match before. He had a plane to catch. He may have made some decisions that were a little bit hasty. But regardless, we got to play an interactive game. and it was just so much fun. And I'm glad he was able to share some of the joy, I think, of the storyline of Kano and
Yeah.
Prism battling in these last moments for Kano.
I also
And I'm
have to
glad
say,
that it turned out the way it did.
there was that
Oh
call
boy.
halfway through that game where he popped Halo to swing for 7 with a Herald of Triumph, so that your
Yeah.
7s would go to 5 so they wouldn't pop. And he like called it in
Yes.
that turn so perfectly. And everyone at home was
Hmm.
just like, that was the most insane read I've ever seen. Like, that was like, it just
Hmm.
made the game go even crazier because I was like, Zak's still winning. And this has happened. This is absolutely mental. But,
Oh boy.
oh
Yeah,
man.
that was quite the play. It was it was pretty funny to see him apply some of the strategies for the round 12, and try to counter it with his own in that match.
Yeah.
That was very fun. Mm.
So, it was so, like, it was just such a good game to watch. I would highly recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it. So we get through the game. We get to the end of the game and we have that really beautiful moment on stream where we have Jacob and Josh come up to you, and you're all just so hyped up. You're like bouncing out the stream chair, like going crazy. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
one of the best moments. Like I think if we have a supercut of the team, that is definitely making it in there. Like it was just such a cool moment to watch, especially at home. We're all just kind of going nuts. We're like, oh man, we're about to get the first calling win for the team. So exciting to see. Um, and then we go to finals. What's your perspective on finals? What's kind of your thoughts about
Yeah. So here we go. It's finals against Kasai. AB1.
it?
It's
Mm-hmm.
Chris Ayali in the finals. I get my opportunity to redeem myself from the previous calling.
Yeah.
And I can pinpoint all the mistakes that I made this match. It's just I don't feel regret in the moments that I chose to be aggressive, because again, taking us back to round 5 of Worlds where I chose to play safe and
Mm.
I got burned for it. This aggressive mentality is what got me to calling top 8 in Philadelphia. It
Mm.
got me to calling top 8 in Seattle, and I stand by playing to how I felt was going to be correct, even if it was objectively incorrect and I should have played a bit more stable and
Mm.
safe and set up. Um, so yeah, I mean, I definitely let the moment get a little bit ahead of me.
Mm.
I tried my best to claw back, but Chris is a great player. He deserves it. Well done. And yeah, and that was that. I just don't really have any regrets about any of it.
Yeah.
It was so much fun to be able to put on a show for Kano in his last moments.
It was like another like heart wrenching game to watch as well, like back home, because we see that first wildfire turn, we see you like flip the last card off the top. It's photon splicing, and you have to think really hard about whether you want to like crack the ruby potion to send it or not, or just hold it and wait for the next wildfire turn. Oh man, that was also just such like an interesting and cool game to watch. Like it didn't end the way that we wanted it to, but it
Mhm.
was also just so interesting to watch.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad at least it wasn't a total blowout for the viewers. At least there was some interesting
Yeah.
points to be watching.
100%. I mean, we literally it came down to one life point in that last turn. Remember, like, you can say you
Hmm.
made mistakes, but you very much like nearly got there. Like, you were very much nearly there.
Oh, I could taste it. I certainly could taste it. Yep.
Um, I guess that kind of brings us to the end of Kano, and kind of your time with Kano. I mean, we've hit Monday now. It's the next week. Kano is not legal for this weekend, which I'm very thankful for as someone who's playing Kasai this weekend. I'm very excited about the fact that my auto lose
But
matchup is
it's probably
not.
like 100% matchup. Should be 100%.
Can you imagine the timeline where you don't you want the guy in Vienna doesn't win Kano, and then I watch Kasai get 50
Oh
alpha
boy.
points, and then also Kano not rotate that weekend? That would have been so sad.
Oh boy.
But no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I mean, 2025 kind of has been your year of Kano, and I think this was like an amazing way to kind of really bring it closed and kind of bring the end of this chapter of your like kind of time in Fab with Kano to a close. And it's been so exciting to watch the whole year. Where do you think you'll kind of go from here? I mean, we've talked about Mario a bit. Is that kind of where you're at mentality wise? Where are you kind of at hero wise going forward?
Well, it's tough. This is a hole in my heart that's may possibly never get filled. But I do enjoy some of the other heroes in the game. I practice with some of the heroes in the game, and I'll say that the top 8 at the Battle Hardened in Kansas City did actually really help my esteem a bit. That hey, like I can play other decks in top 8. Like it is feasible. So hopefully I can get back out there and bounce back. But yeah, I have been enjoying both Assassins actually. The new Slippy Armory deck is sick. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I've been really having a blast testing with that. Gravy, of course. What a deck. He's a lot of fun to play. Gotta say, he's a lot of fun. So yeah, maybe a Cilio if I can just kind of get over the cards not all saying block 3 at the bottom right. Maybe I'll be able to some Cilio in my future, but we will see about that. But yeah, no, excited for the future and maybe for the day that we get another generic wizard back into the format.
Yeah. No, it's definitely it's exciting. I feel like there's a good chance we get maybe an adult Blaze or we get an adult Icelander maybe early next year. I think there's a good chance that we get that. You know, obviously we know we're getting an elemental set in May because we know Aurora's coming back, so maybe we see Icelander in there. That could be exciting. Once again, we have the Companion of Kano guide going up on the Metafy for a cheaper price than normal, a lot cheaper than most people's Metafy guides, kind of to celebrate Kano going. That's very exciting. Obviously, that should be up by the time this video comes out. We've also got the Advanced Fundamentals guide and the Kasai guide, which have both been up there for a little bit, but they're both still evergreen pieces of content that are getting updated and regularly kind of reviewed. Obviously, this has been kind of a massive year for you, Zach, and massive congratulations personally from me to you on everything you've managed to achieve with Kano. And I hope to see kind of quite a lot more from you going into next year and kind of see where you go from here.
Jake, really appreciate that. I know you'll be at my side testing with me, shaping me up, getting me ready to move on for the world in a post-Kano format.
Yeah, 100%. I know my Shock Charmers will be coming with me to every tier 4 next year. I think there's a high chance of that happening.
Oh boy.
Me personally, I'm going to be calling Hong Kong and maybe calling Akihabara in the next few weeks. I think you mentioned you were going to do one of the Battle Huns or 2 of the Battle Huns that were coming up. You're obviously very, very high up on the Player of the Year leaderboard right now as well.
Yeah, a little incentive there. I'm definitely going to be looking into Battle Hardened Atlanta and calling Columbus to start with, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. We've got such a massive year coming up. We've got RPMs and ProQuest as well to kick off the year, and then we've got all of these Battle Huns in America before we move over to the Showdown system. We've got the massive contingent of APAC events, which I'm very excited about. And then, of course, we've got Yokohama, which we are all very, very, very excited about. So it's gonna be a really exciting season. But yeah, thanks for coming on the channel and taking some time out of your day to kind of talk about, you know, Kano and kind of talk about your year with it. I can't wait to see what you do next. It's gonna be a great time. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you soon.